I went into the slow of when am I ever going to find anyone? Have you ever felt this before? Maybe it was something you worked for really hard for a long time. You finally got that thing, but all you're thinking about is, why am I still single? Why don't I have anyone to celebrate this with? Maybe you've always wanted to travel somewhere and you decide that you're going to go to this place on your own, or maybe with some friends, but you're thinking, I wish I was here with my partner. So if you've ever felt this way, I just want you to know that you're normal. So let's talk about the biology, then let's talk about the sociology of it, and let's talk about like the real deal, how we can move past this because it doesn't need to come from this void place. And I always just share with you from my personal experience, just being a single woman in 2024, where it's hard. It's rough out there in those streets. If you know, you know. And it's really easy for us to fall into this, like, I'm going to be single forever. Like I'm never going to find someone. I've become too conscious, too expressive, to this, to that. And let's just talk about where that's coming from, because I feel we shame ourselves around it. We think we're the only ones who experience it. And I want you to know that that's not the case. So let's talk about the biology of why this shit's going down for you right now. For thousands of years, women's safety has been based on men. If we did not have access to the tribe, we would literally die. So we needed to learn how to fawn, how to people please the most powerful man or men in the tribe to make sure we had a place in the tribe for our survival and safety. So if a woman was considered too loud or too expressive, she could actually be kicked out of the tribe and no longer have access to food, resources, safety, and die. And this was the case for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So it's coming from a really pure place of, I just want to survive. And I can't survive without a man. Again, that's what the biology is telling us. Is that the truth of today? No. But our bodies are telling us, because I am not protected by a man, I am vulnerable. So this is why, for myself, when I first became single, it was like, felt like my arm was chopped off. It was like, I didn't even know how to be in the world. I felt so vulnerable because I was so used to having a partner to depend on. And it was like this like deeper biological of like, I need to find someone to replace this void in my life that I really sat with until it no longer feels like that place. So if you feel that, it's a subconscious feeling. That's part of the process. We all go through that and it's completely normal. However, it's really important that we don't stop there and we don't definitely go into relationship from there, because if we do go into relationship from there, there's a void in my life. I am not safe. Well, we're probably going to attract someone who is controlling, narcissistic. We may overlook red flags, toxic behavior, simply because we don't want to be alone, because we don't feel safe. And that's how we end up in actual unsafe situations. So we actually manifest the thing that we do not want to happen by being so afraid of being on our own, when we're actually more likely to be unsafe by being in a relationship with someone who is abusive, with someone who is controlling, with someone who is narcissistic, with someone who's sociopathic, which is a very real experience for many, many women. So it's interesting how the very thing that we're the most afraid of, we actually end up creating it by not addressing it. So let's address it right now. It's normal that when you're single, sometimes you just feel like you're the only one, like you're left out, like everyone else is going to get old with their partner and you're going to be left alone and you're going to be the only one left standing. It's normal to feel that way. We have all felt it. I know it sometimes feels like you're on a game of musical chairs and like all the chairs are getting taken and there's going to be no more chairs left. And then it's like, fuck, like, what do I do? I'm kicked out of the game. I have to like go move up into the hill with all my cats. And that's not the case. So we have to address the biology of, my body thinks I am not safe. But the truth is I actually don't need a man for my safety. I'm not saying let's all repel from the men. I'm not saying that at all. I'm such a fan of love. I'm such a fan of sacred union. However, we can't go into sacred union from this place of, I need a man. I need one for safety. I need one because there's a void. So literally telling your body when you're in those states of, that like feeling of like loneliness that sometimes takes over, that you just want to be held. You just want to be loved. You just want to have someone like just like hold you. those are the moments to hold yourself and to literally hold yourself, touch yourself, caress yourself, and tell yourself, I got you. We're all right. We're all good. We're safe. Look at where we are. We are safe. And I dive more into practices on how to do that in my Ultimate Heartbreak Healing course, which I'll link below. So now let's talk about the societal component. So the societal component is for thousands of years, we have also been told by society that if you are not in a marriage, you are an outcast. You are a witch to be burnt at the stake. That literally happened to millions of women in Europe and then moved to Salem. And that's actually where I grew up, right outside of Salem, Massachusetts. I was always visiting where the witch trials took place because a deep part of me resonated with that archetype of, for sure, in a past life, I was a witch who was burnt at the stake for being too magical, too spiritual, too mystical, too out there. And so for many of us, we have this deep conditioning that if I am my full self, I will be too much for any man and no man will be able to hold me. If I dress too much, definitely can't wear the top Sahara wears. If I dance, if I sing, if I, show a picture of myself in a bathing suit, if I express my opinion too much, if I have political beliefs, if I talk about money, if I make too much money, if I have a business, if I have goals, like all of these things, it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because then also if you don't have those things, then we're thinking, what is he going to think? So do you see here, the key is that we keep centering what is he going to think as opposed to what do I want? And we have been so conditioned to be like that as a society that when we do see a woman who's wearing a cute little sexy top, we assume, oh, that must be for a man. You have to be doing that for attention because I can't fathom a reality where you would want to dress for yourself. I can't fathom a reality where you like to dance because it feels good for you. I can't fathom a reality where you are doing anything for yourself because it all must be for a man. So then if you're doing it, oh, now you're attention hungry. Do you see the thing here? So we have been so conditioned that every little thing that we do must be to acquire a man because that will acquire and get our safety and space in society. Therefore, we simultaneously judge people doing those things because we think, oh, you're just doing it for the same safety that I'm actually trying to go for. I'm just trying to not make it look like I'm doing it for the safety. Catching on with me here? Who is benefiting from this? Who is benefiting from the story that we have told young girls who turn into women that if you're too expressive, if you're too bold, if you're too opinionated, if you take up too much space, if you talk too much, if you exist more than this little box and we have put you in, you'll never be married. You'll never be loved. No man will ever love you and you will end up alone and miserable. You'll be the fucking cat lady and no one will ever love you. So stay away from all those things. Stay away from that spirituality stuff. That makes you a witch. Stay away from your body. That makes you a whore. Stay away from talking to boys. Definitely, you're asking for it. You're just asking for it at this point. Stay away from anything that gives you any form of life outside of a home. Well, because then you're an outcast. No one will ever love you. No, us men will take away our power of loving you and you will be miserable without us. That's the ingrainment. That's in every single movie we watched. I love a Disney movie, but let's be fucking real. Go back and watch some of those. I watched Little Mermaid. I couldn't get through it. And I love the soundtrack. But it was just like, wait, she had to give up her voice to be with the guy? Ursula's like, okay, you can be with the guy, but you can never speak a word. And he's like, oh, a silent bitch. Love that. Do not let the patriarchy fuck up your vibe. As Lizzie Jeff says in our song, The Feminine is Rising. I'll link that song below. But you could see here how deep it is. Imagine our tiny little 4-year-old brains are being programmed with that. To be chosen by the Prince Charming, I must cut myself off from my voice. That's the only way I will be loved and I will be accepted and I will have the life that I want. And we might know this like consciously, like, yeah, of course, Disney movies fucked us up, but let's bring it back to now. Like, I'll be real. I just hosted a fucking festival, my own festival. Spiritual teachers, African dancers. I DJ'd. I live performed my album. Like 300 plus people came from all around the world, from Singapore, from Trinidad. It was like the best day of my life. It was so amazing. And I'm going to be real with you. The days before the event, I literally was barely thinking about the event because I was thinking about if someone texted me back. I'm embarrassed to say it, but I'm going to say it here because I know it's just a single girl who's watching this right now. I was thinking about some guy liked me. And I caught myself. And I'm like, Sahara Rose, you have your own festival. This is the biggest pinnacle of your career. You have worked over a decade for this moment. And you are giving up your power thinking about if someone who you literally just met likes you. And I was like, damn, if I, even with my career, even with my friends, am in this, I'm like, everyone must be going through this right now. And it's so fucking crazy because I talked to my other friend who was speaking at this event, powerhouse of a woman. She's like, dude, I cannot stop thinking about why I gave my number to these guys and they're not texting me because they said they would ask me on a date and they haven't asked me, is it me? She is a queen. And this is where her thoughts are going. That's where my thoughts are going. It's probably where a lot of your thoughts are going.